My boss fired me for being too expensive. Then, the company called me 2 weeks later. I'd worked for the same company for 7 years. I started at the bottom and worked my way up. By the time I was promoted to senior manager, I was responsible for some of the company's biggest clients. Then one Monday morning, my boss called me into his office. He closed the door and said, "We're going in a different direction." I immediately knew what that meant. He told me my position was being eliminated. I asked if it was because of my performance. He said no. Then he gave me the real reason. "I can hire 3 people for what we're paying you." That sentence stayed with me. After 7 years of loyalty, my value had apparently been reduced to a salary number. I packed my things and left. 2 days later, one of my biggest clients called me. They asked where I'd gone. I explained that I'd been let go. They were shocked. Then they told me something my company hadn't expected. They didn't want to work with anyone else. They specifically wanted me. Apparently, I'd built such a strong relationship with them over the years that they were considering ending their contract if I wasn't involved. I didn't say anything. I simply started applying for jobs. 2 weeks later, I received an offer from a competing company. The salary was almost double what I'd been making. The position also came with better benefits and more flexibility. I accepted. A month after that, my old company called. Their biggest client had given them 30 days notice. They wanted me back. My former boss offered me my old job. Same position, same salary. I politely declined. Then he asked if I'd consider consulting temporarily. I gave him my new hourly rate. It was almost 4 times what I'd previously earned. He went silent. Then he said, "That's a lot." I smiled. "It's what my experience is worth now." He agreed. For the next 3 months, I consulted for them while working full-time at my new company. I never enjoyed telling them my rate. I enjoyed watching them pay it. Eventually, the client renewed their contract with my old company, but they added one condition. I had to remain their primary consultant. The manager who had called me too expensive ended up paying me far more than he'd ever paid me as an employee. Losing that job felt humiliating at the time. Now I realize something. Sometimes being rejected isn't proof that you're not valuable. It's proof that the people judging your values simply aren't willing to pay for it.